Hello, friends. Yeah, I did another video about Lewis Cole, who neighbor of mine, lives in the neighborhood. And I know that because when you go on YouTube and look up Lewis Cole and watch these videos, it looks like he just shoots them right outside of his house and in the neighborhood and around. Like there's one song that he does where he is walking down the street and I can see the Baskin Robbins behind him that we pass every day on Figueroa, right here. So I have that kind of cool, like, oh, he's my neighbor feel to it. And I've talked about his solo stuff. I talked about his albums that he's done and the music that he's done with orchestras and big bands and things like that. But I think my favorite incarnation of his musical output is Knower. Knower, Knower, Knower. It's a band that basically consists of two people, Lewis Cole and Genevieve Artadi, who is the two of them make up this. I mean, it's like a perfect, when you get people that are sort of perfectly suited for each other musically, they both seem to have the same kind of love and understanding and insight into what makes complicated music accessible and makes it work. Because a lot of the music they do, if you try to play along with your guitar, it's like, wait a minute, that time signature is nuts. That's crazy. I can't keep up with this. It's hard. If you're a musician, keep at it, because there is it's not just, randomness. There is definite musicianship there that is almost astounding. When you watch these guys play and when Genevieve is singing these parts that are so precise, she doesn't use, as far as I know, I have not been able to detect any kind of trickery. I think they're live recordings that they do that you'll see on YouTube if you look up Knower, Lewis Cole, Knower, or Genevieve Artadi. Look up that stuff and see if you can find the videos that look like they were shot in somebody's house, in the hallway, in a kitchen, with Genevieve singing. It looks like she's right next to the closet in the hallway and the bass player is right there and the drummer is over here next to the bathroom. They're amazing videos because I believe they are recording what you're seeing. What you're seeing is actually being recorded live. And whenever there are overdubs added, they'll put like a little thing on the screen that says overdub. And so it's kind of like almost like proving this is real. This is all real, really recorded. And their chops are so tight that they can do that. They can just kind of get together and start recording and make a YouTube video. Maybe they did a couple takes, who knows? But what you see on YouTube is pretty astounding, because sometimes they have incredible musicians that they bring in, keyboard players, bass players, other musicians that come in down. Like the camera will suddenly switch to downstairs and there's a whole brass section, a whole incredible band, and they have obviously rehearsed and they are obviously quite good. And then over here is a guy playing keyboards on the stove. He's got his keyboard on the stove and he's playing, and sometimes he'll play one note with a spatula or something. And there's a lot of humor in the music, but Knower is the Lewis Cole incarnation that I think veers a little bit more into pop, because Genevieve's vocals are so beautiful and so accessible. Even though they fit into this sort of avant-garde funk jazz progressive landscape that they have created, it's accessible in a really nice way. There is enough pop essence in there, and some of the choruses are just soaringly beautiful. Like, you want to go listen to that song again when the video's over, or when the song comes to an end. You're like, I want to hear that one again. And I've gotten a little bit sort of kind of obsessed with the Lewis Cole Knower thing, and have listened to these things so many times. There's also a lot of like reaction videos if you're into that weird niche of oddness on the YouTubes. Reaction videos, there's a ton of things that will say like, professional jazz musician reacts to Nowhere, and a lot of times you can tell that they start it, if they're being honest about having never heard it before, but you can kind of tell they're putting it on thinking they're about to hear some kind of pop song or something, and then there's sort of jaw drops and they're like, oh my god, these guys are good. And the Lewis Cole's drumming is just so tight and in the pocket, as they say, and all that stuff. And Genevieve Artadi's singing is so spotless and beautiful and melodic. And she doesn't, what I was starting to say earlier, she does not, as far as I can tell, use any kind of trickery or auto-tune or any of that stuff. There's also live performances where you see her hitting all of these notes, all of these strange time signatures, these perfect song structures that everybody is so tight with, and yet it's still so accessible and beautiful and poppy, and it gets stuck in your head, and it's hook. It's got a hook, you know. I totally recommend Nowhere, Lewis Cole, Nowhere. And for the more adventurous, another project of Lewis Cole's is called Clown Core, but I'll put the warning sticker here, not for everyone. Clown Core is amazingly intricate, avant-garde noise jazz. It's not pretty music. It's not easy listening. It's difficult listening, but so fun, and so like you're just laughing at the intricacies of these time signatures and what they're playing and how they're managing to keep up with all these stops and starts. But anyway, Nowhere, I give a huge recommendation for Nowhere. Just about all of their stuff is definitely good. There's a few that you could start with. There's one called Hanging On, Nowhere, Hanging On. It's got a lovely melody. There's a ton of them. Basically, any of them are good. Overtime is a good one to look up. And if you like it, there's a rabbit hole for you to disappear down. There's a lot of material that they've put out, and such good stuff. I really love it. And you may think I'm a nut for loving stuff that I love, but I'm not. I'm not a nut. But anyway, check out Nowhere. I think you'll like them if you like what I like. And I will talk to you again real soon.